Hey, how are you there? This is Pod and Deliver. We are here tonight to look at, actually, tonight's movie night. And we're going to look at Mr. Holland's Opus, starring Richard Dreyfuss. And like I shared, it's 1995, 25 years ago. And so, Ruben, this movie, what do you think? What do you think about the
Oh, I
film?
thought you were going to give us your review first. Then I'll tell you mine.
Okay, there we go. I'll give my review first. So, as I watched it, it was this is like the third time I think I've watched it ever. I was trying to think how many times I've seen this film, and I personally I had two feelings. One piece, I actually looked at it through the eyes of a teacher, and I saw some things I really liked. However, as a movie, if I'm going to go ahead and recommend this film to our audience out there, I would say, you know what? I'm not. I thought it was a little sappy. It was almost 2.5 hours long. When I say sappy, I felt like, was it a story about his family, or was it a story about his family? Well, not his family, but a story about him being a teacher, because he was a teacher at this John F. Kennedy school. I think it's in Portland, Oregon, for 30 years. And you just follow him for these 30 years through Vietnam, through the 70s, through the Reagan era. And you see different students come in. And so for me, I really I felt like in the movie, it didn't give a lot of time with some of the students. Balthazar Getty's in the film. There's a lot of movie actors, William H. Macy, Olympus Dukakis, but the young actors, some of them were really good, some were so-so. But I just felt like they could have done a little bit. The film could have done a little better. I believe the director is Stephen. I can't remember his last name right now, but he's directed other films like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and so yeah, I think it's I just didn't really follow it too well as a movie, I'd say, but as a film for teachers, I liked a lot of things I saw, and I'll share some of those with the authenticity piece of it. But what do you think?
Oh, you're being very nice. I saw very little to recommend. I'd be curious to see what piece in terms of the authentic side you like, because as a film, yes, it's 2.5 hours long. It felt like 4 hours. This movie had the energy, the low energy feel of like bad fluorescent lights, like just downer. And it's supposed to be inspiring,
yeah.
But no. The first part is a boring story of a teacher who gets hired at a school. The next part is family saga about his son being born deaf and their travails. So
right.
It metamorphosizes into that. And then it goes into Vietnam protest. This is a weird movie. I mean, as a film, certainly, I think it's borderline bad, actually. And so I don't recommend bad films.
Right.
And so there's a speech in the film that's memorable in all the worst ways. She has his wife, so he's a new teacher.
Yes.
So they're not doing well financially, and his wife tells him that she's pregnant, and he's completely disappointed.
Yeah.
And that makes her sad. His response is this ridiculous story about the first time he heard John Coltrane and how he hated it. Right. But then as he got to hear it a few more times, then he grew to like it. That story was as fake as the bad hair pieces in this film. There's a few actors, and no disrespect to them. No disrespect to them, but the wardrobe needs to fix that. But it's just tough to sit through.
Well, how about the authenticity? Let me tell you why the part that I liked, not the part that you didn't like, I didn't like as well. I thought it was a little sappy, it was a little contrite. However, the pieces that I looked at was him as a teacher. Now, he came into teaching, right, not wanting to be it. He even said to the principal, this is like my fallback. And I thought, well,
yeah, that was a nice thing to tell him.
Yeah, you don't do that. To your boss, right? That's not a smart move. And she was kind of like,
he didn't even recognize her first day on the job.
Right. Or
who are you?
Yeah, that was
the woman who hired you. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he didn't even know where he was going, which makes sense if it's your first date, but at the same time, he didn't know who she was. But that being said, as you're looking at the film, I thought him working with the kid, the students, the music, he starts showing them, when I say authenticity, when he was playing rock and roll to them, and that he couldn't connect to the kids until maybe 6 months into the job, and then he started playing rock and roll, and then he got to. I thought that was a kind of a good move, that he started saying, I need to, because he looked at it as a job. He was looking at. He figured out that this is not just any type of job, as you know, Ruben. It's a lifelong.
You couldn't
job.
see that 10 miles away that was going to happen. That he comes in with this classical background.
Right.
The kids are not related. You couldn't smell 1,000 miles away. He's going to, and then to make matters worse, he brings it in. And he's playing this doo-wop thing on the piano. The admin walks on. We've been doing these reviews for about a month now. I'm starting to get really tired of admin that are clueless. It's not that interesting. Let's do something different here.
Right.
But the admin, William H. Macy, walks in and he's horrified that instead of classical therapy, he's playing doo-wop. So that was dumb. Predictable and not real. So
I think that the admin though, Olympias Dukakis, she was a little bit more real.
She's a scold.
Yeah.
We can't stand her. We can't even stand.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I agree with that. I think she was fine because I think she had some different layers to her. Where Macy was just one
different layers. She's scolding. She's in his face every time she sees him. By the way, she calls him out. But we're into the authenticity. We're still talking about how bad the movie is. But you don't sound.
I was sharing some of the authenticity.
You don't think it's bad. But
no, I didn't say I didn't think it was bad.
I know you don't think it's bad.
I said the authenticity part I was okay with, not the movie as a whole.
Right, but it doesn't sound like you think it's bad. And so I'm just saying, I am saying it's bad, and I don't recommend it. Part of the reason is, though, she did not have layers, in my opinion. And I guess we're going back and forth. It's hard to separate the two.
Sure.
But
that's fair.
Back to her, she calls him out publicly a lot. And you know what? Authenticity part. So I'm going to try to stick to that now.
Okay.
He calls out students for poor performances by name. Don't do that. Right? I mean, that's not a good thing to do. Do you do that?
No, I think he was learning from that, though.
As I saw Ortiz, F on the test, which he was doing.
But then you saw that he learned from that. And from there, he goes, oh, wait a minute. I'm not. He was just treating them like, they were not really human beings. And later on, he starts humanizing them. He starts saying, hey, this is not just any type of job. This is a lifelong job where he starts getting involved in their lives, starts meeting them after school, before school. Because before, the administrator got upset with him because he was outside the school after 3:00, where he was out to his car, gone. Where some people do that,
which is in his right.
And he said that it was his right.
It's in his right. She's calling him out.
But she was saying, hey, you know what? If you really get more out of this, you would be investing your lives a little bit into these kids.
She clearly did not read Scott Adams' book on persuasion.
No, she didn't. You really hated this film.
You know what's interesting is that
I don't love it either. I'm just saying this is we reviewed another film
titled Teachers, and with Teachers, it's a bad film, but you can watch it because it's in your face bad, and you're But in this case, I don't like. It's not trying to be bad, but to me, it's accidentally bad or very close to it, and I like movies like this least, like boring movies like this. I like less than outright bad films, like Teachers. So,
wow. So because it was trying to be more, you disliked it more, basically.
It was earnest. I'm going to tell you something though. I did say, I'll tell you what capped it off for me. It started off as, I said, a boring teacher film. Then it became a boring family saga. And then a dumb Vietnam protest. Not that protesting Vietnam is dumb.
A scene or two.
It became a silly version of a Vietnam protest film. You can argue it ends in a love story.
Yes.
And you know what I mean.
I know what you're going to say.
And it's very creepy. And he teaches high school.
Okay.
And it's very hard to watch.
Okay.
And so I will just say one thing that he does that I think is pretty good earlier in the film, because there has to be something. I think at one point he's working with a student, this girl who's playing the clarinet, and he shows some show some compassion. And I don't know what the strategy is, though. I don't know what to recommend. I have no teaching strategy from this. Do you?
I think in that scene, no, I think
In any scene, that's the scene I pointed out.
Well, that scene itself, I think what he was trying to do is trying to encourage her to look at what is going to get her to play that clarinet, because he knows she's practiced. Why don't you forget the notes? Just go from your heart. So I think, and I'm not a musician, so I don't know how it works. He was letting her know that, sometimes you got to play it from the heart and not just from the words that are in front of you or the music that's in front of you. So I think that's what he was trying to. I'm not trying to defend his strategies. I'm just saying that he did have a strategy there with her. And I feel like he was doing that with different students, with different young people. I do agree with you though, because he's a very selfish guy. The whole time he's wanting to go back to his music.
There's no character really here that's
and the one thing
that's likable.
Actually just like the most was at the end where they're giving him this big celebration. I thought that doesn't happen in real life. Everyone wants to, is that going to happen when we retire? Someone's going to, go into an auditorium and celebrate like that. I don't think, you would like to have students come back and say, hey, thank you for what you've done and all that. But to have that type of display, I think it was a little bit too much.
So you said you were recommend, but it sounds like you kind of recommend.
No. I said there are a couple of aspects I like regarding how he treated the kids, how he, it seemed real to me in some aspects with how the administrator treated him. You
would sort of not recommend the movie, but do recommend some of the authentic parts of it.
Yeah.
I definitely don't recommend the movie.
Say no.
Do not recommend it. In terms of authenticity,
yeah,
it doesn't feel real. That's
fair.
how we would break it down.
Well, I guess that's where we have it. Both of us, we pretty much agree, sort of.
We agree.
Well,
we don't agree.
Well, we agree that
I don't like the movie at all.
Yeah, I don't like the movie either. I said there's little pieces of it I like.
I don't recommend any part of the movie.
Okay, well,
just so that's clear to the audience. But there are some things in terms of authenticity you would recommend.
That's fair. All right. And that's it. Where should they push a button?
Don't forget to like the video, people, please. And hit the notification bell. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Goodbye.